Hey guys, Sherman John, coming at you with another Diablo Immortal video. I am joined today by my good friend JGigs. For those of you who do not know JGigs, you can go check him out. He does a lot of raid content as well as a lot of other games. And what you didn't know is he actually started out playing Diablo Immortal when it launched with us and actually dropped off. So this video, we're going to kind of talk about what happened with Diablo Immortal that kind of put him off on playing or not being able to play as much. And we're going to talk about what we think could potentially make this game a lot better in the long run. So that way, even someone like JGigs will actually play the game. All right. How you doing, JGigs?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. So glad to have you on here. I know times have changed now that you're not in the States anymore, overseas and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to connect like you used to.
Yeah,
I want to immediately get right into it. I want to pose the question. You played Diablo Immortal a little bit, right?
I did. Yeah, when it first came out.
Okay, so you played it a little bit. Obviously, I'm still covering it. We're going to talk about this from my main channel. What happened that kind of led you astray to where because you're not actively playing it right now, right?
I'm not. I haven't logged in a couple months now, I guess.
Oh, okay. So what happened? Like, was there anything in the game that kind of like draw you away from it? Like, was it real life? Like, what happened, or what do you think really like set the pace or the tone to where you're just not playing it now after a couple of months?
I think it took. I think Diablo Immortal demands to be your main game.
Okay.
It is a very time-consuming endeavor, and I think I was expecting as a mobile game to be
Yep.
able to kind of set it and let it play. As far as the game itself, I enjoyed it. I had very little to gripe about with it. I was really enjoying playing it, but having just moved across the world, my I had to get everything else back in order. I had to get my revenue on my main channel back up and kind of get everything baseline. And Diablo Immortal was making that harder to do. I was losing a
Yeah.
lot of time to make content trying to play Diablo, so I had to drop it.
Hey, that's totally fair. I fully understand that. I mean, there ain't nothing worse than because it is that they did structure Diablo Immortal where it is that game where you have to actively play it. I've talked to I don't know numerous people who came from our background of playing gacha games where they're like, yeah, like it's fun, but like I have to actually play it. It's different, right? Like
Hmm.
going from like, oh yeah, I'll just click this button a few times, we'll multi-run or whatever, and then we'll come back to it. Like, no. You're not doing that in Diablo Immortal. Like it is gonna be a game that is actively you have to play the game for sure.
Yeah, like every part of it. There's
Yeah.
no autocomplete or anything.
No. There's no like, yeah, it's a mobile game. Like, oh, let's just finish this section. We'll come back. We'll come back on the next slide. Yeah.
Yeah, short of grabbing a spoon. Wasn't there a thing with a spoon a while back where you
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
autoplay or something?
Yeah, you could actually legitimately just play with a spoon and just let its primary attack for you, and you're good. And actually, they fixed that bug, but they didn't fix it for the monk class, so it's still broken, even if you're a monk.
Okay, there you go. Pro
Yeah,
tips.
yeah, yeah. Pro tips: just go monk, and that way you can just AFK farm it again. There we go. That's how we get JGigs back into it. We make him let him go monk, and he can AFK farm. He'll get right back. He'll get right back into Diablo Immortal. Oh, love it. So, given the fact that, like, obviously you put some hours in, right? Like, you figured out kind of what the game details, like, what kind of, like, what you're doing in the game. Is there anything you think that would really stand out that would make you even reconsider, like, playing Diablo Immortal? Like, is there an aspect of the game, like, maybe a quality of life, another, like, a dungeon type, a something that you think would really bring some fun into the game itself in the franchise?
Um, I think as far as the game itself goes, I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I was really
Okay.
enjoying playing the game. I think in order for me to play it, I would just need more time. So, however that would manifest itself, whether it be I find more time in my schedule or they implemented some time saving features into the game.
Okay.
Maybe an auto kind of the way that the auto pathing works. If you could
Hmm.
auto path through things and it would also auto fight when the time came. I don't really know how to implement that in a game like this, but as far as needing more content, I at least when I was playing, I felt like
Yeah.
it had plenty for me. I don't know. I see you're at Paragon 170, which is nutty. So I imagine by now you might be like, we could probably use some more
Yeah.
content. But a couple months ago, I feel like there was plenty for me to do. So I wasn't bored by any stretch. I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't even have as big of a problem with the pay to win stuff as everyone else did. There was this big pay to win thing with Diablo, and so it costs 100 grand to max a character or whatever. It's like, well, okay, but so I had no gripes. I had no gripes with it. It's strictly a
Yeah.
time issue for me.
Okay. No, that's fair. I think I don't think you're the only one who has that complaint. Like myself, like I'm Paragon 170, and I'm actually below server Paragon. I should actually be at 178 right now,
Oh, okay.
according to the server Paragon. So I'm actually below Paragon, but that's because I was out of town for a week, so I couldn't keep up. So I
Yeah.
kind of I agree with your sentiment a little bit, like because obviously we come from the mobile side of things, so we're used to the games where we can kind of set it, forget it a little bit. If they could come up with some sort of auto pathing, something else, even if they wanted to, I don't know, even if they were to say put like a slight pay to win aspect according to it, like I think a lot of people would take advantage of it. Because even like myself or like you, right? Like we're doing content, we're doing all these other things in our day to day lives on top of making content for other games. Having a way to play these types of games, especially because it is a mobile game, right? Like this isn't as in depth as like Diablo 3 or Diablo 2, which I know you have a lot of experience in Diablo 2, right?
I've got, I
So
think, probably the most hours of any game ever in Diablo 2. Yeah.
yeah.
I was a
So
big
you
Diablo 2
understand
fan.
like what goes into it. So the fact that it's a mobile, you kind of would expect maybe a little bit of a shift of pace or progress where I don't know, maybe they do need to come up with some sort of like auto something system for us to kind of satiate some of the players like us, right? Like where we don't have the time to play all day long. Like I don't play until later in the evening every day because I work a 9 to 5 and then I come home, make content, and then get to play a game, right?
Right.
So maybe they could come out with that. That'd be a really good suggestion for sure. I know a lot of people are getting kind of bored. Like a lot of people are doing the Elder Rifts and they're doing the Challenge Rifts and dungeons right now because now we can actually get all the set items. You get 6 pieces sets, but
Oh, okay.
that's all that everyone's doing right now. It's like a lot of people are still
Yeah.
complaining that like they get a little bored of this, like just running the same dungeon because the drop rates are a little bit low. So maybe if they could boost those drop rates a little bit, maybe that would help satiate like, hey, people want to play more in the dungeons, or even like were you around and doing any like the real time events they have like the in Ashworld there was a carriage mode where it would spawn a few times a week, and you'd have to chase the carriage and then kill the boss at the end of it.
I remember that. I don't think I ever did it, but I was aware
Yeah,
of it vaguely.
gotcha. So I almost wonder, and maybe give me a little bit of input on this. Maybe if they came out with a little bit more events that actually drove more like real world like farming, right? Like because to get my level from 170 to 178, I'm either gonna have to grind a dungeon the entire evening, or I'm gonna have to go open world farm. Open world farm gives you the most experience, but who wants to just run a circle in open world farm? You know what I mean? But if they give us some sort of like
Yeah.
more live events, I don't know. What would be your opinion on that? I feel like if they just gave us a little bit more live events, there's something fun to like engage us more in the open world. That maybe that would kind of help with a lot of people who are just getting a little bit bored with the game that are like would love to play the game and put hours in, but they don't want to do the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I was gonna ask actually if they've done any big content drops in the last couple of months, if there's been anything like hugely new implemented, or is it
So
just
as
kind of
Yeah, so to answer that question, as far as new content going, like we have events here, which you can see here. So we have the Into the Dark, which is actually a new event that they did. I just finished this yesterday. Actually, it goes until the 30th. Basically, it was a series of challenges. Every day you had to complete some challenges. You got a legendary crest as a award and an avatar ring also as a award. Hungry Moon is something they've had going on for the last 2 months. Echo of the Immortal is where you get to practice the Rite of Exile fight. I do feel
okay?
like this is a good content that they brought to the game that makes it fun because you get to pretend like you are a leader of a clan and
Mm,
fighting for the immortal. So you get
okay.
to kind of simulate that. Whereas before, like because as like right now, Aftershock is the immortal for our server. Our server, we are the top dog. We've been top dog for the last 5 weeks. Tonight is Rite of Exile, and hopefully we kill it and we crush it and we stay immortal for another week. But you get to actually practice with Echo Immortal, and then Fractured Plane is a totally different concept where it's fixed skills where money cannot buy you anything. It's totally skill based with skills that they give you to progress content.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
that's been pretty much the major content drops they've had within the last 2 months now. Obviously, the game's still pretty much in the infancy, right? Like 2 months, we know for a
Hmm.
game like this is nothing. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been about it. So I'm really thinking, I don't know, maybe they come out with some sort of live events where people can go farm in open world and have more fun with it, or I don't know, like I really do feel like they need to bring something for the people itself just to keep them more engaged. Obviously, we'd love to get players like you to get back into the game. Like you express, like it's something that has to be your main game. So
Yeah.
for that means it's a time sink. So you have to have that free time to play, or you have to have some sort of quality of life that allows you to play for shorter amounts of time because it's a mobile version than it would be with like D2, right? Where you'd be something where I'd put hours upon hours and going into it, your hours upon hours of invested time.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then especially if I'm going to make content on it, because it's hard for me to play games these days that I'm not going to make content on. A lot of my time is spent trying to make sure I know these games well enough to make good content. So
Right.
Diablo Immortal, on top of it already requiring so much time, if I want to dive in and learn everything, basically my whole day has to be Diablo Immortal, and I can't swing that right now. So
Yeah. No, and that's totally fair. I totally understand where you're coming from. And I think a lot of the viewers are also going to understand that. Like, because that's the funny thing is like, I don't think a lot of people understand, like us as content creators, that we don't have, it's not like that we have unlimited time in the day, right? Like, yeah,
mhm.
you see us make YouTube videos, you see us stream here and there, but like what you don't see on the back end is like, for example, like I still work a full time job. I know you're a at home content creator, but I'm sure you still have tons of stuff that you do that's like, we'll call it work related, right? Like, it's not like you have your entire like 12, 16-hour day to make content and play these games, right? So it makes it a little bit harder for you, even as a content creator, to kind of engage and make content on these types of games that require anywhere between 2 to like 6 hours a day of grinding.
Right. Yeah, to play Diablo Immortal, even though I'm a full-time content creator, it feels very similar to me having a 9 to 5 and then trying to play Diablo Immortal still. It's because my 9 to 5 is, my 3 or 4 other channels that I'm trying to make content for regularly
Right.
all day. So,
Yep.
it's yeah, I just in short of like having more hours in the day, I just don't know. I don't know what they could do. Because again, with a game like this, I don't really know what kinds of auto features
Hmm.
you could implement that would be reasonable. Like, maybe auto open world farming where it
Right.
runs around, you know what I mean? But I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would be reasonable, how people wouldn't just leave that on all the time and constantly be. So I don't
Right.
know. I
Doing
don't really
something
know what
else.
the
Yeah.
solution is there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely posed a very curious question. So, for those of you who are watching, make sure to leave comments below. Like, let us know what you think on it. Like, what do you guys think? Maybe we can do a collab later on, where we take your guys' comments and be like, okay, yeah, like, and we just poke the pins at them, like, hey, like, would this work? Would this
Yeah.
not work? But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you in any of the statements you've made. I mean, it is something that I don't know how we would make it and satiate the players that are playing only for a very short amount of time, which is what's discouraging them from playing. But I do feel like maybe at some point they need to do something so that way they can get players and content creators going back into the game, having fun, and just being able to get to engage, right? Because I think one thing that was a lot of fun when this game came out, and it's still fun to this day, is we get to interact a lot with our community, right? You get to interact with
Hmm.
a lot of players on your server and get to talk and get to know people better. Especially like as us in Aftershock, like we have a server, we talk all the time. Whereas other games, you don't have that aspect. So I'm sure if we can take that aspect and apply it to the game somehow, I think everyone would be, I don't know, I feel like everyone would be much better off and really enjoy playing and come back to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap it up here. JGigs, you got any extra closing remarks here or anything?
No, I think I'm good, man. I think it'll be interesting to see what the comments look like on this video. What other
Oh,
ideas
yeah.
people have for saving some time in Diablo Immortal.
No, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So make sure, guys, everyone who's watching this video, make sure to leave comments down below. Maybe we can do a follow up later and we talk about it because I want to hear everyone's input. Right? Like we gotta like to make a game great and make a game good. You have to. It can't be just be one person's vision, right? Like we got to take everybody's input and kind of come up with this solution. I think that's going to be the best. And maybe as the voice of the people, we can come up with that solution and propose it to them and they can implement it. And that way we can all have fun in the same game without, taking too much time in our day for something like this. So, JGigs, I want to thank you for coming on my channel. I appreciate you, brother. Do you want to let the people know where they can find you? I know you have a few channels that you are working on, that you're doing. You want to let them know what you got going on and where they can find you?
Yeah, JGigs is my main channel where it's mostly raid slash me memeing on raid, and then the other channel that might be interesting is Gigs Mobile Gaming, where I'm covering. Lately, I've just been covering a lot of random mobile games, so we're checking
Okay.
out a lot of new games and bouncing around. So it's kind of like a first impressions channel at this point, so might be
Okay.
worth checking out as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I will link to both of those down below. And like I said, guys, don't forget to leave comments letting us know what you think that Diablo Immortal needs to add in the game to like facilitate more of what your needs are in the game. And I look forward to the comments. So thanks again for coming on, JGigs. And that's going to be it for us, guys. We will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.